Getting knocked down on the football field makes you tough. But getting back up makes you tougher. At Goodyear, we call that determination. A willingness to put in more hours, more reps, and more heart to reach a bar that's sky high. Because the Goodyear blimp doesn't show up for just anybody. So don't be just anybody. Be blimp-worthy. Goodyear, more driven.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head to death. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me your boom.
I am Jalen Rose, waiting for David Jacoby.
What?
And you know what we like to do? Give the people what they want. Since I'm waiting on David, and I like to dispel myths like CP time because I'm always early, I like to dispel another myth that came out on this show that I don't prepare. For anybody that wants to be in this industry and do this as long as I've been doing it, and fortunate enough to have the opportunities that I have, guess what you need to do? Work really hard. You need to prepare. And you need to continue to reinvent yourself. Reinvent your material. It's okay to keep some of the ones, your anchors, that your go-tos. It's like listening to an album. It's okay to keep your ad-libs, but you got to change your hooks, like you would do from song to song. With that being said, I want to talk about a couple of things real quick. The LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers. One of the things that became a blessing in disguise once Rondo and Ingram got suspended was that you got to play other guys.
Yep.
And the reason why Jacoby's running late is because he's celebrating the 8th grader. He's celebrating Born Ready. He's bubbly. He's enthusiastic. He's happy that Lance Stevenson has been balling for the Los Angeles Lakers. Even though he's not a die-easy fan of the team anymore, he now claims the New York Knickerbockers. Lance was really aggressive last night, in particular in the fourth quarter. People think the biggest shot of a game normally happens at the end of a quarter or at the end of the game, but he made 2 major threes in the fourth quarter when the team was trailing that I think were the catalyst to them getting a much-needed victory as a team that's now 2-3. Jacoby has now arrived in the studio. He's not wearing a Lance jersey like I promised.
What?
But he does have a big smile.
Why are you talking like that? Is this your broadcast voice?
No, we started the podcast.
I'm glad you started the podcast.
And we started it with the 8th grader, Lance
Stevenson.
Can you tell everybody?
Did you do the intro?
Of course.
By yourself?
Yep. Yes.
Oh, man.
Can you let people know your affection for Lance that probably are new to the program, or even some of the kids that just started listening? You're not a die-easy fan of him.
No, I've been a fan of Lance's for quite some time now.
Since 8th grade?
Since he was in 8th grade.
How about that? This is an adult with a major beard, got waves going in multiple different directions.
He does have waves spinning all over the place.
Jacoby's known this guy since the 8th grade. By the way, New York basketball's high school's all-time leading scorer.
You know what happened when I saw him at a party?
What happened?
I was like, should I go talk to Lance? I was like, I'm going to go talk to Lance. So I walked over, I introduced myself, told him I've been supporting him ever since the Kingdom. He didn't care.
Well, because he was out and about.
Yeah, he didn't care.
He was out and about.
He was just looking over my shoulder.
He was doing his thing.
And then I quickly, you get the vibe that someone doesn't care, you just move. I kept it moving.
Yeah.
I kept it moving.
That's the thing to do. But at least you didn't take a picture of the side of his head.
No.
Forward it to your friends.
No, I didn't do that.
Like he was a zoo animal.
I didn't do that.
That's a new segment on the show. I want to get a segment called Zoo Animal.
You want to get a segment called Zoo Animal?
Yeah.
Look, you host the show by yourself for 4 minutes now. You're making up segments.
Absolutely.
What are you gonna write some scripts? You gonna do the rundown next week?
Not gonna be able to do that. Newsflash: I don't do much typing. I don't do the lengthy emails. I don't do the email chains. I'm really good at voicemails. I'm really good at phone conversations. I'm halfway good at text.
You leave some long voicemails.
I do.
You leave some long ones. You just be rambling. Like, oh.
Because a lot of times
I got a data plan, Jalen.
Because just like when you're going through the airport, you're actually en route to be somewhere. Mm-hmm. When I leave a voicemail, I have to unload everything on my mind that I'm trying to tell to that individual so I don't forget.
Okay.
And I don't like to do the lengthy text. What do you think about people that send lengthy texts? We got a gang of voicemails. So let's just get the people what they want and go to the voicemails. Right now, Reg.
What up, Jalen? What up, Jacoby? Most importantly, shout out Reg. What up, dog? It's your boy Diego from sunny Inglewood, California, calling in again. So, cultural or regional? Washcloths, man. Because I was at my boy's house and I took a shower, not a washcloth in sight, just a bar of soap. And I personally think that is disgusting because soap is not self-washing. Just think about the first thing I wash and the last thing you wash before you get out the shower. I'm just saying, man. Get the people what they want. Keep cashing them checks, fellas. Peace.
Diego wants to know, are washcloths cultural?
I hope they're universal.
I hope so, too.
Yep.
Now, I have to. So, there's suburban and there's urban Jalen. I've been fortunate enough to live two different lifestyles depending on my age.
Uh-huh.
And when I walked across the stage with a red and white suit and shook David Stern's hand, guess what I did?
Suburbs.
Out of the hood. I wasn't on my Mobb Deep like I'm going to be in the projects forever. No, I'm not.
When you moved to New York, you're like, I'm not. No. Like, I'm not. No.
No. I wasn't like I'm going to live in the hood. No. Not going to be able to do it. With that being said, shout out to the hood. Made me the man I am. Gave me a lot of character. I want to say, when your funds are limited, you have to be creative with the washcloths.
What do you mean?
Well, sometimes you got to make choices.
Okay.
And usually you're going to go for the bigger item, which means you probably have more towels than washcloths. You don't have that medium towel. You know when you go to
the hand towel?
Yeah. When you go to a hotel.
You know you're really an adult.
That don't exist.
You're really an adult when you got the medium-sized towel.
I didn't see those until I got to the NBA. Like I didn't even know those medium towels existed. First off. And so you use the large towel, and then when it becomes one that's been used multiple times, like eating a loaf of bread and you save the ends, you cut different pieces of the large towel, and that makes washcloths.
When I was single, living by myself, I'm not ashamed to say it, I would probably go 2 months without even washing myself. What? Months. I remember one time the towel walked itself to the hamper and got in the hamper by itself. It was like, no, I'm done. I'm retired. You worked me too hard.
You know, I think being a basketball player and like so many different parts of the day where you sweat and you're in and out of the gym, you're in and out of practice, you're in and out of workouts. One of the things that my mother used to scream at me about, and Molly still gets on me about now, is I'll use some hot water.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'll use up some hot water. Like I'll iron all of my clothes with the steam in the shower.
Really?
Yeah.
What? You go. See, I like a lukewarm shower.
Oh no,
I'm very sensitive to heat.
I'm burning up.
See, I can't. You always drink this super hot tea. You always have the hot towel. You always like the steam room, the hot sake. See, that's not me. I like lukewarm stuff. I like lukewarm things. I like my shower just be like warm. I don't like it to be hot.
But I got to get back to address something that's really important because I'm looking at my nephew Q on the wall. How would you feel if Q went that length of time without washing a towel and not really taking his bathing habits seriously? Because it sounded like when you were single, you weren't really focused on that.
No. Quincy, I can already tell, is not the most organized, cleanly individual on the planet.
He's a boy.
Yeah, he's definitely. You can tell the difference when you have a boy and then you have girls. You're like, oh, look, the girls like want to stay clean and like they've got
their fingernails.
They've got stuff on their face. They're like, hey, I need a napkin. You know what I mean? Quincy's not that. He's not that dude.
No,
he's not that dude.
Something on my face is not slowing down my day.
Q-Man's fired up about monsters.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
We got the headphones for him. Because it's loud in there. So he's got those big headphones. He packed his bag.
Like Drew Brees' son when he won the Super Bowl?
Yeah, he got a little suitcase. So he packed his bag, but he just put toys in there.
Smart.
No clothes, just toys. And
Smart.
He said, well, what if I miss home, Daddy? I'm going to want my toys.
Correct. I'd rather have toys than clothes.
No, you need
any
clothes,
day.
Man.
Yep. He's your son. You the person that just said you went months without washing a towel. Of course he's going to put toys in his suitcase and not clothes. I don't need new underwear. I'm hanging with Dad.
Washcloths are universal, Diego.
Yes, they are.
Washcloths are universal.
Yes, they are. Let's get to another voicemail.
What's up, Jalen and Jacoby? It's your boy Brandon calling in from Atlanta. I saw a tweet, man, and I need to get Jacoby's advice on. I saw a tweet that said there are 40 million kangaroos worldwide, and there are only 8 million people in Ohio. So if the kangaroos invaded Ohio, they will overpopulate the people.
Wow. So, shout to Brandon, representing the ATL. This call is right up Jacoby's alley because
what's the question?
From the beginning, he's talked about a kangaroo apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
And I've tried to ignore it.
You can't ignore it anymore.
And as you heard, there are 40 million.
Yeah, I saw this tweet. A lot of people sent me this tweet.
That exists.
40 million kangaroos.
So you're the capo of the kangaroo apocalypse.
Mm-hmm. I'm on the kangaroo side.
What do you thought about this?
I've already switched sides.
What?
You know,
no surprise. Exactly.
You know,
I'm not surprised.
I see where this is all headed. The kangaroos are going to take over the planet. I'm going to be the only dude. The same way that, like,
you're going to go against the humans?
Yeah.
This guy.
Yeah. I'm with the. Look, I don't need to be in weatherman to know which way the wind blows. And the tide is turning. Human beings are going to be taken over by the kangaroos, and I'll be ride or die kangaroo.
But see, I got something.
Kangaroo Jalen?
I got something, exactly. And I got something that allows me to be a chameleon. Because when I hear that the kangaroo apocalypse is going to happen, I'm just going to gain 40 pounds.
There you go.
Then I'm going to blend right in with them. Thank you for the call. Appreciate the love. And we know Jacoby's so enthusiastic you brought up the kangaroo apocalypse.
Of course.
All right, let's get the people what they want.
Getting knocked down on the football field makes you tough. But getting back up makes you tougher. At Goodyear, we call that determination. A willingness to put in more hours, more reps, and more heart to reach a bar that's sky high. Because the Goodyear blimp doesn't show up for just anybody. So don't be just anybody. Be blimp-worthy. Goodyear, more driven.
Lance Stevenson. Lance led the Lakers to their second straight win.
I knew you were going to be unbearable today.
I really feel like LeBron always needed someone like this to follow. You know what I mean? Like LeBron he's a natural passer. You know what I mean? And I feel like he's always facilitated his teammates, and he really needs someone of Lance's stardom, of Lance's basketball ability, and Lance's just natural know-how to carry the team. LeBron doesn't want to carry the team. You need Lance to carry the team. You do. This is what LeBron has always needed in his career, Jalen. He's always needed someone like Lance that he can defer to.
I knew you were going to
remember early on in his career when he was always criticized for passing up the shot at the end of the game, looking for one of his open teammates? He was always criticized for that.
Yes, I remember.
Now he's got Lance. No one's going to complain when he gives the ball to Lance. You know who's really not going to complain? Lance.
And the other thing, Lance loves a big stage.
Yeah.
He loves to put on a show. And the cameras in L.A. are extra bright.
See, now people might forget that this is Lance's actually second stint in Los Angeles. And the cameras were there last time he was there. He just wasn't on the court. But look at him now.
But if you ask him, it was like, I was playing behind the coach's son.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely it. That's definitely it. Yeah, remember him and Josh Smith would just be clowning. They got traded at the same time. They didn't trade him for anything. They just get him out of here.
Other than the Pacers, we're going to forget that he's with the Bobcats. That never happened.
Lance, in 25 minutes, Lance had 12 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and he won over the hearts of the nation.
The last 2 games.
Give it to him.
From a guy that's been following and representing Lance since Lance was in 8th grade. This is the president of the Lance Stevenson fan club. This is not because he's with the Lakers. The last 2 games, he's been averaging 17.5 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists. And in the fourth quarter, he didn't only make 1 clutch 3. He made 2 clutch 3s when they were behind.
And here's the thing, Jalen. I take a lot of credit for Lance Stevenson's success and supporting him through and through. Today. You take a lot of credit for inventing things that you didn't really invent. You do this all the time, and I just have to let it slide because we're a partnership. You know what I mean? I was like, I'll just let Jalen think that
we're brothers. This. We're happy.
But you did advance. You did invent Lance will make him dance. You coined that phrase, and now it is coming out of the lips of none other than LeBron James.
Make him dance, Lance. Make them dance, Lance.
Did you ever think that you would be saying that?
Make them dance, Lance. Sparked our win tonight. The guy was unbelievable coming off what he played last night in Phoenix. And he, picked up right where he left off from. And then we just used the crowd, after Lance got going and got this win.
The guy was unbelievable. That's LeBron James. Doesn't believe what Lance is doing. Do you know who believes in Lance? I do. You said Lance. Did you hear him? That's LeBron James. LeBron James was like, Lance got the crowd going. We just followed his lead.
I knew you were going to be unbearable today. And shout to LeBron because I appreciate when icons reference names that I start. You don't do it for the people that's going to take shots at you or criticize you. You do it for the 1%ers. And when Jay-Z gets on wax and says, Worldwide West, that's a badge of honor. When LeBron James speaks into a microphone and says, Lance will make them dance. Been saying that since that record came out. It's gone mainstream. I just fell back and let people run with it. But those that follow this program know that's broken news.
So let me just take you on the emotional journey that is being a Lance Stevenson stan. Because there's the fancy assists, and then there's see that behind the back to McGee. You see that beautiful pass? McGee with the sky hook, and now Lance, I'll clean that up for you. Don't worry about it, JaVale. I got you. Oh, now I'm going to do the Michael Jordan palm thing. I'm going to almost trip. Then I'm going to do a spin move. I'm going to lose the ball, get the ball back, and then he fouled me. He fouled me. It's a behind the back pass. See, and then he got the rebound, and then he lost the ball, and then he got the ball back, and then he got fouled.
See, at that moment, he was feeling like you. He was like, LeBron, who? This is my team.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, Kobe here to watch
That's what I'm saying.
Magic is
Kobe
here
was there. Yes.
To make sure that I get a 4-year deal
worth max
money.
They're going to sign him to a max. That's what they do. Everyone's always talking about the next year. Next summer, the Lakers are going to bring in another superstar.
They got one.
They got one right now. They got Lance.
They got another
They don't
max
need
player.
anything else. The problem is they're going to cancel each other out in the MVP vote. You know, the way that Steph and KD do. That's the problem with those two. It's going to be difficult.
You're going to have a great show today.
Woj dropped another bombs. Woj is in the office today, dropping bombs.
That's a Grantland classic, by the way. I think I came out of the room kind of saying it.
Oh, no. You're saying that you invented Woj bombs?
I didn't say it.
Oh, my God, Jalen.
Did I say I invented it? Or did I say that's a Grantland classic? Am I wrong?
You're wrong.
Who you think came with it first?
I don't know. But if I had to guess, I would say Bill Simmons.
And Bill Simmons was the chief and editor of what?
Grantland.
Okay.
So okay, let's just move on.
Let's just
move on. You said you invented it. You didn't invent it. All right? You invented Lance to make him dance. You did that. And LeBron just said it. Just take your win and move on. Sit down and just like some pizza.
Keep it moving.
So Woj dropped a bomb.
Shout out.
That Jalen Rose invented. And he said that the Rockets are trying to give the Timberwolves 4 first-round picks in a deal for Jimmy Butler. So that's 4 picks over 7 years. lightly protected. What? They have to do this. If you're the Timberwolves, you have to do this.
Look the up and down, say, I'll take her.
You got to.
I'll do it for both teams. But there's something that ain't up there. It's something that Woj didn't report that I'm going to say.
Oh, okay, sir.
And if you've been listening to Jalen and Jacoby, you know that there was a fracture with the Minnesota Timberwolves ending last year that we covered extensively on this program. I'm not doing that deal unless y'all give me Eric Gordon. Here's why.
Well, the numbers don't work.
Here's why, though. I'm just talking about, forget the numbers. I'm talking about basketball-wise. Here's why. Because picks don't play. And that means Minnesota got to get all of those picks right.
Mm-hmm.
Number one. Over a 7-year period. Tibbs probably won't be there that long. Daryl Morey and Mike D'Antoni probably won't be there that long. So this is like a trade between owners.
Yeah.
And when the owner comes out and say they want to move a guy, that's how Daryl Morey going to nudge him. Like, okay, I'll mortgage your future for you. I'll give you 4 first-round picks. If I'm Minnesota, however, I need that knockdown shooter in Eric Gordon.
So here's my question, though, if you're Daryl Morey. I trust Daryl Morey, right? He's one of my favorite GMs. Let's say you do this. You get Eric Gordon, 4 picks, they're gone. Are you going to sign Jimmy Butler at the end of this year?
Yes. That's the only reason why I'm doing it.
Okay.
I would not be doing the deal.
You have to.
Here's why. Because you need multiple all-stars to be a contender in today's game, period.
Mm-hmm.
Greek Freak is a terrific player. Anthony Davis is an amazing player.
LeBron needs Lance.
Exactly. And so if you're going to compete against the Golden State Warriors, that's what it's going to take. With Chris Paul, was injured in the playoffs last year. James Harden is dealing with an injury right now. You need another all-star level player to hold down the fort. I think if they add Jimmy Butler and keep their core group intact, it could be really interesting out west.
It could. I would put them a very tough out in the playoffs.
No doubt.
Jimmy Butler, Chris Paul, James Harden, Clint Capella, Carmelo Anthony.
Here's what I need to tell you about their defense so far, Houston. Anthony Davis, Mirotic, Donovan Mitchell all had 30-plus against them so far this year.
Mm-hmm.
They're bleeding up front.
And they're not scoring either. They do need help. They need to change it up. Yep. The Thunder trying to get their first win, playing against Boston. Up by 9 in the fourth quarter. Blew the lead. Blew the game. Russ is back. He's working his way back from surgery. You see him dancing a little bit there. Jalen, this is pretty ugly at the end here. You see there's 4 minutes and 5 seconds left. Just look how many points OKC has because it stays there. What happened here?
Russ put it on him. And I respect and appreciate that. When you don't close games, it's up to your 2 best players, in this case, Paul George and Russ.
I mean, look at this.
To get you high percentage plays.
Look at this.
And for Russ, who's averaged a triple-double back-to-back seasons in this league, when you're not going, it's up for you to get to other players involved.
And look at those distances, Jalen. 25, 28, 20 foot, 19. Those are all Russ.
This is the best graphic that has ever taken place on our show. That was so vivid, that was so distinct, and that would make people smarter. Because a lot of times people just put up the field goal percentages and or who shot and missed what, not the distance. If you're OKC, you're not a knockdown 3-point shooting collective. That's just not the strength of your basketball team.
No.
If that was the Golden State Warriors, we'd be like, oh, okay, let's see what kind of shots those were. And so their 2 best players have to be the lead catalyst for that. I'm not worried about their 0-4 start. Yeah, it changes expectations. You drop 4 straight, you ain't top 3 in the West no more.
No.
Okay? They still will be a playoff team, and once they get healthy through and through, in particular Robinson, they need him to balance their lineup. I think they'll be just fine.
Yep. Jalen Rose, do you brush your teeth every day?
Yes.
Jalen Rose's teeth are very important to him. Very important. He thinks about them all the time, looks in the mirror, he checks them. And the best way to take care of your teeth is with Quip.
More than once.
Quip is a better electronic toothbrush created by dentists and designers. I used to not live the electronic toothbrush game.
I was just saying I need a new electronic toothbrush.
Get
Real
Quip.
still.
Get Quip. I used to use a regular toothbrush. I used to just brush my teeth moving my hand.
Oh, no, you missed
Not
out
anymore.
on life.
Not anymore. Not anymore. With Quip, you make the jump. Make the jump to the electric toothbrush. You will never, ever, ever go back. Quip is designed better than other electric toothbrush to make brushing your teeth more simple, affordable, and more enjoyable. They have sensitive sonic vibrations. People brush too hard. Some electric toothbrushes are too abrasive to your teeth. They have a built-in 2-minute timer, pulses every 30 seconds to remind you when to switch size. You don't even have to think. Usually it's late at night, you're brushing your teeth. You can do it in your sleep with the built-in 2-minute timer. They also have a multi-use cover. It mounts to your mirror and unmounts to slide over your bristles for on-the-go brushing. You can also have new brush heads automatically delivered. Because when you make the switch, the electronic toothbrush game, you got to switch out the brush heads. You can't get lazy with that. You got to switch out the brush heads every once in a while, and they have new brush heads automatically delivered to you when you work with Quip. Quip is one of the first electric toothbrushes accepted by the American Dental Association and has thousands of verified 5-star reviews. Here's why I love Quip. I like that squeaky clean feeling. People always say squeaky clean, and they don't really know what they mean. Run your tongue along your teeth after you use Quip, and your tongue will stick to your teeth. They are so clean. Also, I love Quip because they're backed by over 2,000 dental professionals. Quip starts at just $25. You think that only people that have Jalen Rose money can get into the electronic toothbrush game? You're wrong. Anybody can get in the electronic toothbrush game. It costs just $25. Go to getquip.com/Jalen right now. Get your first refill pack for free with a Quip electronic toothbrush. Get your first refill pack for free. Get QUIPquip.com. Getquip.com/Jalen. Jalen, you need a new toothbrush? Go to getquip.com/Jalen. Well, after starting 0-3 and just looking like a dumpster fire, the Texans, after last night's victory against the Miami Dolphins, have now won 5 straight games. They are 5-3. They look like an AFC powerhouse once again. How real do you think this streak is for the Texans?
It's really real. I hate that they lost Snead to a torn ACL. Will Fuller, I'm sorry.
Yep.
His name is Will as well. To a torn ACL. Mm-hmm. Because he's that deep threat that creates a level of balance for Hopkins.
Yep.
And I know a lot of times we throw around the same names for top receiver in the game. But when you look at some of the quarterbacks he's had, yet the productivity that he's been able to garner.
He's had 45 quarterbacks in the last 3 years.
DeAndre Hopkins deserves to be mentioned like Antonio Brown, Julio Jones, Odell Beckham. Like he's in that class, and rightfully so. That catch was amazing.
The catch that didn't count?
That wasn't pass interference. If they
I didn't understand that either.
Receivers do that every play.
Let's take a look at that catch that didn't count.
They
the best
do
play,
that every
this
play.
Was weird, right? Look at that. Look at how deep, great ball. And then you have to see this in slow motion. I mean, first of all, they were both going back and forth with the hands. But look at this. Catches it one-handed with his left hand and then goes under his leg and catches it against his leg. That's a legal catch. He maintained control, and then they call it. They just threw a penalty there. That's not fair.
They didn't know what
the ref was just like, that's not
that's
fair.
What ends up happening.
Like, that's not fair. You can't do that.
Yeah, he was like Spider-Man on that.
So everyone's so excited about the Texans, but you know what? It's time for negative Jacoby. Everybody needs to pump the brakes on the Texans. Okay? They lost to the Giants. How many wins did the Giants have?
1.
And who did they beat?
Well, Deshaun was coming back from injury.
Uh-huh.
And so, I'll do a disclaimer on that.
Okay. And then this 5-game win streak that everyone's talking about. Do you want to hear the teams that they beat during this 5-game win streak?
Sure.
The Colts, the Cowboys,
not in the playoffs.
The Bills,
not in the playoffs.
The Jags, and the Dolphins.
The Jags and the Cowboys got a good chance to make the playoffs.
Those are not great teams.
Because one can win the division, and obviously I don't think the Jags are as poor as they've looked, though Blake Bortles has not been able to take care of the football. Hopefully they get Leonard Fournette back. But anytime Deshaun Watson is throwing 5 TDs in 20-plus attempts, that's getting it done. So I believe that they're going to continue to play good football, but they're going to miss Fuller. Love seeing Watt. Love seeing Clowney. Love seeing their deep merciless. Like, their defense is bomb. And shout to the Honey Badger.
Shout out.
I told everybody that was going to be a sneaky big move.
Yep.
And so their defense is stout. But I think they're going to really miss Fuller as that other balance to Hopkins. But also Miller runs the ball really well out of the backfield. So I think you're underestimating the Texans. Negative Jacoby.
Okay,
get back in the garbage can.
Why you got to send me to the garbage can?
Because that's where you came from.
Jalen Rose, it's Friday. Happy Friday to everybody out there. Have a safe weekend. Enjoy yourself. You worked hard all week. Have an adult beverage. We're going to break down some things that you could be enjoying this weekend. There are some big games and some events. Are you ready, Mr. Rose?
Yes, indeed.
Sunday night game. In my opinion, the best game in the NFL weekend. Saints in Minnesota against the Vikings. The Saints are 5-1. Quietly 5-1. Same record as the Chiefs, but no one's talking about the Saints the way they're talking about the Chiefs. What do you think about this game?
Going to be the best game of the weekend, as you acknowledge. Shout to Kirk Cousins, who secured the bag, but then all of a sudden unleashed Adam Thielen.
Shout out.
Like, he was balling before, but he's leading the league type killing right now.
Yeah.
And so I want to make sure I shout that out. Stephon Diggs and he are terrific.
I love Diggs.
They just got to continue. They got to find a way to keep Dalvin Cook healthy. I know Latavius Murray has done a really good job of filling in, but that's that side of the ball. As far as defensively, I've seen they starting to slowly get it together, in particular in the secondary. And they're playing at home. That's why I'm taking the Saints.
Oh, no chance. I'm going Saints.
Taking the Saints.
Yeah, I'm going Saints.
And worst case scenario, the Lions need the Vikings to lose so we can win the division. Let's go Saints.
You're really still talking about winning the division?
500.
You're still talking about winning the division?
Touchdown passes for Drew Brees.
You're still talking about winning the division?
Just added snacks on snacks on snacks.
Oh, God. Well, your Pistons are playing this weekend. Saturday, 7 p.m. They host the Boston Celtics.
I have to go to that game.
The Boston Celtics, Jalen Rose, coming to downtown Detroit to play the Pistons. The Celtics have been a little funky so far. When you watch the games, it just seems a little off with them. What's going on with them in this early season?
They're going to have to create a dynamic. And by the way, it's a team game. Everybody on the Celtics plays an unselfish brand of basketball, and it starts with Brad Stevens. But in order to cook and to play to your strength, there has to be a pecking order. And what I see that needs to happen in Boston, they're going to have to find out is Kyrie or Tatum going to be the go-to guy. Because I've noticed that they both usually aren't able to be featured and get off constantly at the same time so far this year. And late in the previous game, they went more to Kyrie. Earlier in the year, they were going more to Tatum.
Yep.
And, of course, you want the open guy and the ball to find the open shooter. But one of the things that separates good teams from great teams is having the guy you can actually give the ball to. Both of those guys have proven to me they can be the guy. Tatum so very early in his career. But one thing that still has to happen, bringing back Hayward and Kyrie along with all of the other perimeter depth, it kind of stymied Jaylen Brown so far this year.
Oh, that's interesting.
And he hasn't been able to really get himself going. And they're playing on the road versus the Piston team. We showed Blake Griffin's numbers. We didn't show Andre Drummond just came off 2020 vision.
22-2.
And you ready for this? You can't say swish without ish. You can't say dish without ish. And he's balling for the Pistons, Mr. Smith. I'm taking Detroit basketball to win at home.
Finally, Game 3 and Game 4 of the World Series. I'm about to say something that no true fan would ever say.
Okay.
No true fan would ever say this. I call myself a Red Sox fan. I kind of hope that the Dodgers even it up just so we can get like a deep series. You know, I don't want to see it go down. I don't want to see.
That makes sense.
I don't want to see a 5-game series. I want to see a 6-7 game series. I want to see back in Fenway Park.
I do too. The NBA Finals were a sweep.
Whether it's music or whiskey, in New Orleans, every note matters. And every sip of Southern Comfort dances to the same vibe as our birthplace. So drink it in. Southern Comfort, the spirit of New Orleans. Discover more at southerncomfort.com.
This is how it works. If you want to discuss the topic, you say hit the brakes. If you don't, me, you, and Method Man keep it moving. Are you ready, Mr. Rose?
Yes, sir.
First, James Harden is going to be out at least 2 games.
Not major. Keep it moving.
Okay.
We keep it moving. We keep it moving.
We'll keep it moving. Don't heckle Dame Lillard. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Oh, he's from the Bay. Hit the brakes.
Dame Lillard didn't have a great first half. And someone was really just letting him hear it from behind the bench. Let's listen what Dame had to say.
They had a guy, behind their bench that just kept running his mouth. He just kept running his mouth, and I told him, I said, you're going to get them in trouble. You know what I'm saying? I'm here for this. And he kept on talking, and in the second half, I ain't hear a word from him. So, that's that.
7 points in the first half. The Orlando crowd got a little excited, and then he had 34 points in the second half, a franchise record. Jalen Rose, do you ever get inspired by getting heckled from the crowd?
Of course, because what ends up happening is that's a testament of your character. When people try to assassinate your character, try to hurt your feelings, try to heckle you. Mm-hmm. And how you respond is the ultimate victory. For Dame, in this case, not only was he able to shoot down the Orlando Magic, but put up 41 points in a big road victory for a Portland Trailblazer team that a lot of people don't talk about. But at the same time, since he got drafted, they always make the playoffs.
They do.
They always find a way to be a team that reinvents itself in the backcourt. We saw C.J. McCollum become an all-star level performer. Stauskas is now playing quality minutes after being on multiple teams. Nurkic is giving them an anchor down low. I like what they're trying to do out there.
What New Yorkers are trying to do in advance of the Warriors coming to town is woo KD. Keep
Where are
moving
we right
or hit
now?
the brakes. Keep moving or hit the brakes.
In New York right now? Or you got to hit the brakes?
Got to hit the brakes. So they did what all the cities do. They put up a billboard. So this is the billboard that they put up. Can you make New York sports great again? At Easy Money Sniper, which is his IG handle, one of his many IG handles, I should say.
I like
and there's a picture of him with Kristaps Porzingis. Jalen, this is a whack billboard. This is whack. That's not going to do it.
Well, it showed KD love in a couple of ways. Number one, he got a haircut. Number two is it acknowledges his social page. In New York City, people trying to get their likes up.
Sure.
People get a chance to see that. But the more important thing is Kevin Durant gave Kristaps Porzingis his nickname, which lets you know he's paying attention to the landscape.
But that doesn't even look like Kevin Durant or Kristaps Porzingis.
It doesn't have to
spend all that thousands of dollars on that. We spent 5 minutes this morning making a better billboard and $0. And look, we already did a better job.
Return on your investment.
Boom. Skyline. He got the Biggie crown on. That's better right there.
Return on your investment happens real simple. We're talking about it. As long as we're talking about it on television.
But I'm talking about how whack it is. It doesn't look like Kristaps Porzingis.
It's a win.
Doesn't look like Kristaps Porzingis at all.
It's a win.
Do you know what I'm excited for tonight?
What's that?
Standing ovation for Kevin Durant.
No doubt.
Announced.
Are you going to be one of the fans?
Oh, yeah.
That's a Easy Nick fan.
I'm going to be chanting for him when he's at the line.
For KD.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be great.
NYC.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
You got to create a chant.
I'll come up with something.
You got to create a chant.
I'll come up with something.
You got to create a KD chant. KD,
MSG.
NYC.
At KD, MSG. I'll come up with something.
KD,
We'll workshop it. We'll workshop it.
And if you get the fans to say it, that'd be awesome.
Paul George says some people have a hard time playing with LeBron James. Not Lance. Some people.
Keep it moving.
Okay.
Jalen been moving, Jacoby moving. We keep it moving.
Jalen, I got some bad news.
I hate bad news.
There's some turmoil in the Detroit Lions locker room. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Oh, you got to hit the brakes.
There's some problems in the locker room between the Lions.
No.
They're very upset at Kerryon Johnson.
No, not him.
You want to know why?
Leave him alone.
They say he needs a haircut.
Oh.
They say, look, this is hair. I think it looks pretty good. He kind of got like that Jay-Z thing going on. But the sideburns, and they say that sometimes it looks different. He never takes care of it. His teammates are upset with him, says he needs a haircut. You get a haircut at least twice a day. What do you think about his hairline?
I'm not mad at his cut, actually. I thought
good.
when you talked about him needing a cut, it was going to be of a different hair variety. But what I will say is he's balling. Straight up. He's balling. So even though he a rookie, let him do his thing. Don't be heckling him.
What type of hair do you think he needs to get cut?
It could have been a different style. Maybe it was longer. Maybe it was nappier. Maybe it was more kinky. Maybe it just looked different. That looked pretty well manicured.
So you liked his hair?
I wasn't mad at it.
Let's take a look at you with this hair. Let's see.
I wasn't
how
mad
you
at
like
it.
that. Let's take it. What do you think of that?
It looks cool.
Looks good on you? You like the sideburns?
Cool. His look better.
His look better.
His look better.
It looks like they added the side.
Shout out to Michelle.
Yeah, big shout
in
to
the
Michelle
background.
It looks like you got that Carlos Boozer Sharpie hairline going on there.
All I know is I got on the Cardis. That's all I know.
You don't have Beijing. You got China. Moving on. Bill Belichick is running for office.
What? Hit the brake.
Bill Belichick is a 60-year-old attorney and a father of 4 from Madison, Connecticut, and he's running to be a probate judge. So look at that. They got vote for Bill Belichick for probate judge. Here's the thing about this. He's in New England. His name's Bill Belichick. He lost the previous election by 289 votes. How do you lose an election if your name is Bill Belichick and you're in New England? I don't understand that.
Because the head coach, whose name made that name more famous, isn't really engaging in interviews.
It's Bill Check, I think is the guy's name.
It's
a little different.
He's not really engaging in interviews.
He's not.
And he
not a big
talk
personality.
a lot about policy.
But I don't need my judge to
talk
be
a lot
funny.
about politics. You know,
I would vote for Bill Belichick. I would definitely vote for if I saw that name on the ballot, I would just vote.
But he did donate a championship ring to a politician.
Yeah. He did. Stick to sports. Moving on.
We be moving, you know, we keep it moving.
Jalen Rose. The NBA season is underway. And every team has about 3, 4, 5, 6 games under their belt. So we're going to look at some trends and ask the question, is this really real?
Is it real, son? Is it really real, son? Is it really real, son? Is it really real?
Is it really real, Jalen? We're going to start with your guy in Detroit, Blake Griffin. He's averaging almost 34 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists. Is this really real?
Those numbers have to be real.
Is this really real?
What you don't have up there is he's amongst the league leaders in 3-point percentage.
He is.
He is balling.
He's taking about 6 a game.
And he's healthy now. It's his first full season with the club. I think this is a trend that's going to continue to happen. Really real.
He's hitting almost 4 threes a game, Jalen Rose. Do you think that's going to stay? You think that's really real?
Even if it goes down to 2.5,
it will.
He's still going to get to the bucket and get to the free throw line.
The Pelicans have started 3-0 for the first time since the 2010 season. It's been 8 years since they started 3-0. Jalen Rose, are the Pelicans really real?
They're real enough to be in the playoffs. They're not a contending team. I just hope
this isn't really real.
Something happens to where Anthony Davis plays his whole career there. Like, I would love
Oh, no. I want him gone. I want Anthony Davis with LeBron. Lance, Anthony Davis, and LeBron in the Lakers.
They have 3 max guys then.
This Pelicans thing is not really real.
You don't think so?
This is not really real.
I disagree with you.
Mirotic. Yeah, you're gonna sell me on Mirotic. You're gonna sell me on Mirotic.
Randall.
That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna sell me on Mirotic.
Holiday.
I love Drew Holiday, but don't try to talk to me about Mirotic.
I think that the Pelicans, led by Anthony Davis, are gonna surprise some people. I think they are really real.
I knew you were gonna say yes to all these. Next, your guy, Zach LaVine. Played only 24 games last season. He was recovering from an ACL injury. Now Zach is back. Look at that. Almost 33 points a game, and he's shooting 57% from the field. Is this really real?
Lance is one of your guys.
Mm-hmm.
What did you say about me and Zach LaVine again?
It's one of your guys.
Look at that shot right there. Look at the score. Who does a step-back 3-point shot from behind the backboard with their right hand if they're not on fire to start the game? Of course this is really real. You see the confidence this guy's playing with?
You think he's going to score 33 points a game?
Oh, the lane is open. He's banging on people now. See, before he wouldn't take that contact.
That intensity.
Before, he wasn't necessarily taking that contact in the league and banging on people. That I told you that was next level. And I appreciate that his dad also works him out.
Good.
Family affair. And he loves dogs.
Is it really real?
It's really real.
Next, the Nuggets started 4-0. They lost to the Lakers last night because of Lance. You can't beat Lance. The Nuggets, 4-1. Are they really real?
They didn't make the playoffs last year. I think they will make the playoffs this year. That makes them real. I don't think that they advance in the playoffs. They must get Will Barton back to sustain their season and its success. Hopefully, if not this season, in the future, the flyer that they took on Michael Porter Jr. becomes a productive player to help solidify what they're trying to get accomplished going forward.
Where's Isaiah Thomas? He was playing professional basketball last year. Is he still hurt? Is he coming back?
I actually got a chance to run into him in Los Angeles.
Oh, you did?
He's doing well with this recovery. He's excited to be with his former coach in Denver, reunited from Sacramento. He feels like he's going to have a productive year. He's excited about the people that he plays with and believes he's going to be a difference maker before the season is
good. Chris Middleton is a free agent at the end of the summer, contract year, so you know what that means. He's averaging 24 points, shooting over 50% from the field. Look at that. Almost 60% 3 points.
I feel like he's one of my guys, too.
Is this really real?
It's really real. What did I tell you was going to happen with Chris Middleton this year?
All-star.
Boom. Yes, he's never played in the game before. He will be playing this year. And the Bucks, what are their record?
Undefeated.
And he's their second best player. So, yes, this is real. Happy to see him balling. And you know what else? He can make clutch shots, too. I'm happy with the way he's improved his game.
I got to be negative Jacoby for a second. It hasn't been great for the Timberwolves and Karl Anthony Towns. Karl Anthony Towns is just, I feel like he's been emotionally affected by all this Jimmy Butler drama, and he hasn't been playing that well. He's not terrible, but he's averaging just over 16 points a game, and he's shooting 42% from the field. Is this really real?
Until Jimmy Butler gets traded, yes.
So that's what I don't understand. Removing Jimmy Butler from the team is going to make him perform better?
I'm a huge Karl Anthony Towns fan. I got a chance to cover him in college and know that he's 20-10 in a couple of blocks when he's playing well. Know he can make the three. But this game is so much mental warfare that people underestimate. And for him, it's taking place in his own locker room with the premise of friendly fire. If you look at the construct of the Timber Bulls locker room, it's not necessarily set for him to be the lead dog. The head coach brought in Jimmy Butler, not going to move him until he gets equal value, had him in Chicago, and just loves when Jimmy stirred up practice that first day, didn't he?
With all of this attention on you,
Derrick Rose,
all this
Todd
attention
Gibson,
on your team,
Luol Deng,
don't you think he would perform better than this? Don't you think that pressure would make him step up?
It's symptomatic, and I respectfully talked about how Kobe Bryant dealt with his turbulence in his career, responded and played so very well under those circumstances versus somebody like Tiger Woods, who for a long time didn't win a tournament. Definitely hasn't won a major since he hit his. People deal with that a lot different. In this case, for some reason, Karl Anthony Towns from the neck up has not been able to sustain a level of focus, a level of concentration, a level of discipline and toughness that it takes to endure during a situation.
So you think that Jimmy Butler getting traded, let's say to the Rockets, because the Rockets are putting this package together. If Jimmy Butler gets traded to the Rockets, you expect Karl Anthony Towns to perform better?
Jimmy Butler didn't play at Dallas. The fans were chanting Jimmy Butler. When Karl Anthony Towns went to the line, what did he do with those shots?
Missed them.
He missed both of them, right? Okay. How many points did he score in that game?
6 or something?
He scored 30. 30. Okay? And you just told me he's averaging 16 and shooting 42%. He was remarkably better when Butler wasn't present.
What does that say about his mental makeup?
It's not a positive thing. It's not a positive thing. You want to be able to perform as a professional regardless of the situation, especially if it's taking place and it's not physical. You don't want to have that guy looking at the bench after he shoot an air ball like, get me out of the game.
Yep.
You don't want that.
After he missed a 3.
So that goes into the psyche that I'm describing that got exposed throughout this scenario for a really talented player that is going to find a way to find his game once Butler's moved.
Let's say they move Butler for Eric Gordon and a bunch of picks. Does that mean the Timberwolves are no longer in the playoffs?
I'm throwing Butler in that trade. I know it's being reported that
Gordon in the trade.
I'm throwing Gordon in that trade.
Sure.
I know it's being reported as 4 first rounds. But as I just look at the rosters, you can't be Minnesota and do this deal and not ask for Gordon. I do think, though, if it happens, Karl Anthony Towns will continue to find ways to be more productive than he is right now.
I don't think the Timberwolves are a playoff team.
But they're not a playoff team.
I don't think they're a playoff team without Jimmy Butler.
That's why Houston trying to trade him picks, not players.
At Sport Clips Haircuts, we're on a mission to help our veterans with their education. In 2013, we established the VFW Sport Clips Help a Hero Scholarship Program. With the help of your generous donations, we've raised nearly $5 million and awarded more than 1,000 scholarships across the country. Visit Sport Clips today and help a hero. And on Veterans Day, November 11th, Sport Clips will donate an additional $1 for every haircut we give. Help us continue this honorable mission.
So, Jalen, how'd it feel doing the pod without me a little bit there?
It felt like...
Miss me a little bit?
It felt like when your parents go out of town, they leave you the house and they leave you the car keys. It's great. I could get used to this hosting thing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You have to prepare.
I'm already prepared because I'm following what's going on in the landscape.
The lance? You're following the landscape?
You know,
I love it. I'm following what's going on in the lance of sports, in the landscape. This is the best. I love today.
Speaking of the Hobbits, let's talk about LeBron James for us.
The landscape.
I can't wait till Brandon Ingram and Rondo get back.
Lance make them dance.
So they can take those minutes.
Lance make them dance.
So Lance can be back playing 14 minutes a game.
You know what my favorite country is? Green Lance.
Is that medicinal?
Yep, medicinal.
So here's what's got to happen for the Lakers.
More Lance.
You want to keep your young assets, in particular, the ones you've taken in the first round. Ball, Kuzma, Ingram, Hart. But as you continue to add, hopefully, that's the goal, another all-NBA caliber performer, possibly a free agent in 2019, it may cost you some assets. And the strength of Ingram's game, along with Rondo and Ball, is having it in their hands. That's when they're flourishing at their best, when they're creating for themselves and for other people. So under that dynamic, I don't think the Lakers want to start Lonzo Ball right now. No. I applaud the fact, and I had to do this. When I first got into the league, tall point guard, playing in Denver, had the ball in my hands 90% of the time. Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, we got Mahmoud, we got Robert Pack. I'm like, oh, I got to learn to play off the ball. And so what Lonzo's doing that I appreciate, making his catch and shoot threes, being a good secondary playmaker. He's always been a good rebounder, but people underestimate this. He competes defensively. I love that about him. He plays D. So while this is a year to see who can fit with LeBron, I think Lonzo Ball is a smart enough basketball player that if you have to lose him in Ingram, you do so for an all-NBA type player. Obviously, it's going to be more salaries involved and type of thing. But overall, if you could keep him, I definitely would.
When you look at the landscape in the NBA,
oh my goodness,
where do you think Lonzo fits in the landscape?
Positionless basketball.
Do you think they faked the moon lancing? Let's listen to a voicemail.
What's happening, David and Rose? Shout out, Reg. Hey, put me on the pod, man. I got the mad knowledge about where the baby pigeons are at. This your boy, Eric A. Aaron, calling out of the 714. Okay. So, I am a truck driver, and I'm yelling right now because I'm calling from the road in my semi-truck. But one thing I see out here, and I see a lot of crazy stuff out here, but one thing I see is the pigeons, man. They're all living underneath the bridges. So when I'm driving on these freeways and it's hot out, I see these pigeons swooping underneath the bridges and going in their little underground areas under these bridges, and I'm convinced that's where they're keeping their nests because, one, there's a lot of bridges in these, cities and the urban areas, and they're scavenger, and it's got to be a lot cooler than it is out on the street or in a tree or something like that. So, boom, bang, bing, baby pigeons, are underneath the bridges. Number two, and tell me if this is a cultural regional, food trucks. I was going up to the Bay Area eating these like burritos or something, and it was really good and cheap. And then I looked at the meat, and it looked a little funky, it tasted a little greasy. And then I said to myself, oh snap, I'm pretty sure these fools are pushing pigeon meat. I'm out.
Food trucks are regional. Yeah. I love that call. Shout to all truck drivers.
Shout
listening
out.
to Jalen and Jacoby to pass
No
the time.
doubt.
I gotta say something.
What you gotta say?
He said he sees pigeons go under the bridges. He's assuming that they have nests there. He hasn't seen the nest, nor has he seen an actual baby pigeon. He said he had mad knowledge about where the baby pigeons were at,
but he didn't.
But it seemed like it seemed like it's a little
actually are.
hypothetical. Like he thinks that they're there. I assume that there are baby pigeons somewhere. I've just never seen one. I would love someone to send me a picture of a baby pigeon.
Shout out.
What do you call a baby bird?
A pigeon.
What?
You asked me what do I call a baby bird?
Yeah.
A pigeon.
Okay.
Speaking of the Hobbits,
let's talk about LeBron James. I want to thank everybody that called in, especially that truck driver. I want to thank Jessica Mendoza for joining us on the show. We got a couple special guest co-hosts next week. What? We have 5 shows next week. Jalen Rose is only going to do a few of them because he's lazy.
What? Oh, that's the reason we're going to put on wax? Seriously?
Because he's got 17 jobs and his other commitments that he has to do.
You're far too kind.
I want to thank Jalen Rose for hosting by himself at the beginning of the pod. Look forward to listening to that back.
Speaking of the Hobbits,
let's talk about Lance Stevenson. We'll be back next week. Wack Harris.
Done. We're not done. We're not done. Got to give the people time. Give people what they want.
They my little guys. I love them.
Speaking of the Hobbits, let's talk about LeBron James.